Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for coming. We welcome you to the seminar on Outdoor Air Library.
So it's been like 4 months here in New Zealand, and then we flew for like 6,000 knots, and we came here, and we were welcomed by very good people actually, and then we had some ground shaking experience, literally, and it's been really good here. So that's kind of our visit from India to New Zealand, and in a nutshell, we just put this slide to tell you what all happened in the past 4 months. It's been cool. One photo of the hit lab there, and then a lot of visiting other places. So it's been, we've been visiting almost all the places. We've been to Australia, Auckland, cricket match, and
Rafting.
rafting. Yeah. So it's been really good. Yeah. So
Yes, so we'll just run through what we're going to see today. We'll start off with a basic intro to outdoor AR and the goals and progress of this internship. Then we'll go to the demo, show the working of how to set the library and how the apps use the library to get done, and the outcome of the project, and references, and the future enhancements. So this is what we have been doing during this internship. Outdoor AR is a simple and effective, library tool using which engaging and easy applications, mobile AR applications can be made.
yeah. So just taking off from his point. So for those of you who have not already worked with the outdoor air library, and some of the master students were telling me they were planning to work on that. So this kind of gives you an overall idea about what outdoor air library is, and then where we were working in. So to start with, thank you. To start with, we have the Android SDK and system libraries, and then on top of that there is Android AR library, and then using that, the outdoor AR library uses many of the calls from Android AR library as well. So we've been working in that the blue circle area, mostly with documentation, tutorials, and then sample applications, and things like that. And then we also got chance to work with geoboards. I think many of you might be knowing it. Some of you had the user study and all. And then we did some user survey with CityViewer app as well. And this is the kind of time that we spend on each of these items. So the orange one, mostly we spent on creating the documentation, tutorials, and uploading the sample codes and things like that. And rest of the time was spent mostly with geoboards, and then some time with CityViewer app as well.
So the outdoor AR library on the whole caters to three different views. That is the map view, the AR view, where we overlay the virtual information in the real world, and list view. We'll be seeing these three in detail. So this is just kind of intro. So these three things are common to all the three views that's been described here. So let's look at it one by one. Setup data manager. Yeah. Data manager is a module to which we specify whether the scenes are loaded from an external hard disk or from the assets folder inside the project. Or we can also hard code the scenes. In the scenes manager, we define the scenes either in a database or in an XML file. So we give the pointer to the scene manager as to where to find the scenes, whether in the database or in the XML.
A slight correction. We actually made some correction to the PPT, but then we didn't update it here, I guess. So the setup data manager is kind of correct, but then the second point is it's actually setup scenes. There is no scene manager. So just to clear the confusion, it's kind of data manager and then setup C.
And the custom UI layout, which using which we can add custom user interface to the AR view or the map view. So we can add custom buttons and any clicks and stuff to the already existing AR view. This is the map view on a nutshell. The arrow is basically gives you a location where we are, where the device is, and the scenes which you can see, the POI location, that's basically a location, point of interest uh, with respect to the user. And it uses the Google map.
And then when it comes to the AR view, this is kind of the interesting part where you get the camera feed and then you have this the video feed that's from the reception, and there is this grid, and then I have put one POI with a model of an Android cube. So and just taking off from his explanation regarding the previous slide when we told about the custom UI. So what here you see is an XML UI file, an XML UI designed with a header as AR HUD, and then there is a button. So it becomes much more easier for you to insert custom XML layouts on top of your AR view. So that's what he was explaining a bit earlier. So maybe it's time that we show you, how to actually get the library and then start developing pretty fast. So he will get us through the demo, and then I will show you some of the application of some sample applications in the tab. So yep, so we'll start the demo.
Yep, so the first thing is to download the outdoor AR library, which is available in a zip format from the HIT lab site. So it's here, product, mobile AR framework. And so once you download this and you unzip it, you open it in Eclipse as a project. So we'll see how it's done.
We import it as an existing project into the workspace, and then
so basically you unzip it, and this is the library, and we open it as a project. Yep, so this is the library, and these are the build paths. So you set the target as 2.2 Google API, and okay, it's done. And tutorial basic is an application, is a mobile AR application which uses the outdoor AR library and runs. So we'll just show you all the different sources inside the application.
So maybe just before he explains the code, I'll just show you the app and how it looks like. So are you able to see a little vague idea about how the app is? Basically, it's an app with 3 buttons as a start screen, which has map view, AR view, and then list view. And then when you click on each of them, it will show the corresponding thing. So maybe continue on with the code, and then we will simultaneously see what happens here. Yeah.
So once the project is started, this is the default activity that shows up. So here we have the 3 options, whether to start the AR view, the map view, or the list view, which you can see from here. And So,
To
to begin with, if we choose the map view, and let's see who it is. Yep. So this is the map view that is loaded, and the arrow shows the device location. We are in the hit lab, and can you see the two little objects over here? Yeah. So these are the custom locations that we are loaded. So it's just a basketball over here, and if you just touch it, it gives a notification as to what it is. So we basically specify the geo coordinates of these two objects, and they appear in the map view. So let's look at the source code and see, learn some things. So we start off with setting the Google Map API key, and once that is done, so this is for basically getting the satellite feed or the map feed. So this map view activity uh, inherits the OA map component base, which is defined in the outdoor AR library. So this is where all the member function call, everything is defined and stuff. So the outdoor AR library in turn uses the Android AR library, which is the lower level library. So in the data manager, as we saw before, we just give a pointer to whether the data is loaded from an assets or whether it is loaded from the external device. So if you see here, the local, it means the data is loaded from the external device. External disk, the external SD card. So you basically provide that and set the scenes file as the scenes.db. So this is the database file which has all the scenes, and it should be present in the external SD card. So once you've done that, you set up the sensor manager and the setup scenes. So we pass the object of the data manager class, which has all the details as to where to load the scenes from. So we already provided over here. And if you come over here, on scene selected, this basically caters to the functionality that if we select the POI, there is a toast that is loaded. So it just gives a notification of the POI. So once you select it, this gets started. And here we set up the UI layout. So there's a custom UI here which Rahul explained before. That's a HUD, and once you click it, there's a notification that starts up. So in this map view, the map HUD, in this map HUD, we add the map view, that is the feed from the satellite, to the custom layout. So there are two options. One is to add the HUD on top of the map view, and to add the map view on top of HUD. What we have done here is the second option. So we can set it either way. That's more with map view, and Rahul will explain the AR view.
So you have a radar view,
Uh-huh.
and in some of the applications you've shown is the radar view. Is that added on top of the AR view? The radar view?
radar means the. Do you mean that blue thing?
Circle with a bunch of where the POIs are.
Yeah, that's the GPS
This
location.
one?
No, in the previous application you showed, there was
I think Rahul's gonna show it in the AR.
ARV. Oh, okay.
Okay.
okay, so
Maybe it's covered in the ARV. Yeah.
So Rahul will explain more with the ARV.
Okay. So I'm just being careful with the laptop, otherwise I might snap up this thing. So with yep. The AR view is maybe I'll just show you the demo. Oh, that's cool. So it basically taking the camera feed from the device, and then you can see a grid, and then the basketball, and then this is the radar, and then this is the HUD. This is the custom layout that I am overlaying on top of this. And then this has a similar function just as in map view. When you touch a scene, then I just put some toast saying which scene is selected. So the outdoor AR library gives you some by default functionalities. For example, it gives you the it overlays the grid and the compass that Rob just mentioned earlier, right? So it gives you these two functionalities by default. Another very handy tool that could come to use is to fake your location. So you can do it. You can do it here, just in the on create of that same activity. So much before that, I just missed one major point. So how do you actually include an AR view in your application? What you need to do is you need to inherit this OA AR component base, just like OA AR OA map component base for map view. You just need to inherit this particular parent class, which is in outdoor AR library. Now once you do that, then you just implement all the unimplemented methods in this, and the easiest way is what we have done here. So this is kind of will give you some sort of idea. So this is how you set up the fake your device's location, and we'll come to setup options later, but to start with, just like in map view or in list view, you can define where the data needs to be pulled from. So it can be from a SD card or assets folder here. Assets. So if it's in assets, you need to put it in assets outdoor AR folder, and then you put the scenes.db or scenes.xml here. And then each scene is having its own model. You can define each scene to have its own model. For example, here you saw a basketball. Maybe some other place you are having an Android cube. So each of these POIs are connected to a model. So these models can be defined, can be put into this folder, 3D models folder. So this is kind of the file structure that we see here in this application. Now this is kind of the default namings that you need to follow, but then you could always edit it, and those nitty-gritties are always explained inside the code itself. So I'm just going through this. So in the map view example that we saw earlier, we had seen that we were using OA data manager local because we are loading it from the SD card. Now I am using assets, so which means I'm loading it from the assets. And when it comes to setup scenes, so we already defined where we want to get the data from. So by default, what our system will do is go and search for scenes.xml, scenes.db files, and if these two things, if any one of them are there, it will fetch it from there and then it will load the scenes. That's one way of doing it. If you want to add more models, if you want to add more POIs, then what you need to do is you specify it here. So here I have added like 3 extra POIs with model names. I just commented it out here. So, and then I have again set up a custom UI, and then I have put it on top of the HUD. And this is what you do on scene selected is the callback that is provided when you select a scene, and I'm just coming back to the setup options. So setup options is again another callback where you could specify what are the options you need to set for the map view and AR view. So for example, if you want to have the radar and the grid by default, then you could just leave it. You need not even return anything. But then if you want to hide anything, for example, return option hide compass view. So this will help you to hide the compass view by providing it explicitly. So I guess that's to do with map view and AR view. And list view gives you a sample of a list of all these POIs. So that's directly fetched. It basically takes it from the XML or the DB file and then gives you a list of using the list adapter. So that's kind of the demo that we wanted to show you. So in case you got any doubt regarding how to set up the environment, it could be small errors that could come. So you could always come and then talk with us, or maybe just there is a new forum that is created in so we could discuss it there as well. Mobile AR Framework Support Forum. And then the tutorials for this library will be put up online pretty soon, I guess maybe by this weekend, I guess. So that should be ready by this weekend, yeah. So going back to the presentation, since the demo is done, we'll go back to what we broadly did here in the lab. We actually created the documentation for some parts of the outdoor air library, and then there are some documents we created which are like for internal reference as well. So maybe the people who are interested to develop softwares here could use that and see. And then we built many sample applications which uses these functionalities from that are in the outdoor AR library. For example, the map view and the AR view that you already saw, and then touch sensing on different object, what you do, and then some example with animation, and then custom material, how do you overlay custom materials on top of your model, and then how to build models using Google Sketchup or Blender. So we worked on few projects like that, and then like 2 or 3 weeks back we've been working on creating the tutorial for the new OA library structure that we just explained it now. So that's kind of the work that we did till now.
Yeah, and to study more about the app, to understand the sample applications that we built better, we created tutorials for all the sample applications. So it will be uploaded by this weekend. It's available in the forum which we saw before. And new improvements to outdoor AR, some of the features that we implemented was the custom POI from assets. So custom POI, point of interest, is giving a generalized POI to locations. Suppose parks will have, park and ground will have a definite specific kind of POI icon. Colleges will have a specific kind of icon. So giving a generalized icon structure to all the scenes, and that being loaded from the assets, that was a feature. And then the XML scenes, this XML scenes also can be loaded from the assets. So the scenes can be described in the XML format which you saw before, and if it's there in the assets, that can also be loaded.
Now this is a kind of example that he was telling. So maybe if there are like cafes, cafeterias around our campus, then we could say that the category of this POI is cafe or cafeteria, and then you could give the same kind of icons for all these. It becomes much more easier for people to interact with your app and then see what kind of location, what kind of business is going on, things like that. And after some time, our whole project got a bit more colorful and then a bit more interesting. That's where when we jumped into geoboards. So how many of you played geoboards? Okay, that's cool. That's almost the lab. Good. So it's the arcade game with it's not guns and Lee's. It's just for Lee's not here, right? So yeah, the whole point of this is not to hurt the boards, just to capture them. So we've been working on this with Rob and Gunn and Lee and Haynes and Maria. Yeah. So I'm just going to what all things we were able to work on during this time. I mean, it was really great to work with you guys on this game. I think it's a very 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 cool idea about this game. So he actually worked on the random geolocations.
Yep. So another cool feature in the geovoids is the exer game aspect. If you see the geovoids, there are two subdivisions. One, you can play the arcade mode, and the next is the field mode. In arcade mode, there are virtual swarms that flock around in the real space, and you pan your camera and capture them. So that's stationary. That's sitting at one location and doing it. The next option is the field mode, where you go to a football field, size of a football field, and the map view starts up, and you run to a location, and only if you run to the location will the arcade mode start up. So there's a lot of running around, and it adds the exer gaming aspect to it. So what we added to the field mode is the random geolocations for buoys around a point. So depending on the device coordinate, points or the buoys are randomly located around our geolocations. So it brings the exer game concept into the project.
And we also worked on creating the level selection menus, and then we are still working on it. And then we got some new levels for the games, so it's kind of in progress. And we also added few extra swipe gestures to define different weapons and different kind of capture gestures. And then we've been working for a long time on lazy beam. Yeah. So yep. So this is kind of the work that we did over the last 4 months, other than all the touring that we did. So that actually brings us to
Outcomes.
to the sort of in a broad view what all things we were able to do here in the lab. And so we were able to do some kind of meaningful work, I guess, and then with few outcomes like documentation and the tutorials. And then we've been working with Gunn on the outdoor air library, and then Rob with geoboards. That's kind of a reference that you could go through if you are going to develop some applications using Android AR. Then I given the links here. You're always free to come and then meet us anytime regarding any doubts. What next? So yeah, this I kept it pretty clean because we thought it's always better to start with a clean slate approach. And I like this quote very much. So this by Bernard Shaw, when he says, "When you see things and then you say why, but I dream things that never were, and then I say, why not?" So this is kind of the thing that we believe helps us to go forward and then do new things. Now, after all that philosophical things that we told you, let's come to the real aspect. What next? We are actually flying to UC Davis this for the summer. It's going to be winter here, so we are going to sunny place. We got an internship there, and I'll be working with a networks team there. They're also working on profiling Android applications, so I'm going to work on that.
And I'll be working under Dr. Kwan Lee Yuma in the field of large-scale data visualization. So we're looking forward for that.
So as we put it, more globe trotting, working with exciting people, and then putting learning into fun. That's the kind of thing that we always like. Yep. So thank you all. Thank you for coming for this seminar, and then we would like to thank Mark, Gun, Rob, Katie, and Lee, and everyone here. You all made our stay here really, really beautiful, and you've been really helpful. Thank you. So
We would definitely love to come back here again and do a better job.
So question time. Got any questions or any specific things that you require? You can ask now or maybe
Meet us
offline.
later.
Yep. Okay.
Where is the Akhilesh main project page?
It's there in the HitLab products and mobile air framework. Oh, sorry.
Somewhere in the universe.
Yeah.
So a little more to the left.
Uh-oh.
Those rocks.
Just drag the window across to leave the rocks. There you go.
Oh.
So,
So the products and mobile air framework. So it's available in a zip format.
Don't be scared.
It's there in a zip format. So.
Yeah, I see. So it's the project page. Fantastic.
so actually, you might. I think many of you guys might have thought Rahul and Akhilesh briefly mentioned about how to build an outdoor AR application. You might be surprised about how small amount of code they have been talking about, especially for those who have been working on outdoor AR library before. That's because what the new structure of the library actually gives now. So you don't really have to code much more than what the two guys mentioned about. So when you are programming on the application level, you don't have to worry about anything about showing the camera or doing the sensor stuff or something like that. You can just describe the scenes you want to have, and you can only code on the UI level what you want to have your customized UI and something like that. The rest of it, the library will just take care of it, so you don't really have to code those anymore. So that's why Rahul and Akhilesh showed how to define the scenes and just define them.
Yeah.
So somebody had knew Android programming but had no experience with the augmented reality. How long do you think it will take to learn how to build that outdoor AR application?
If he has a previous knowledge about Java programming and have been using the tool for Java programming, then setting up the Android library and downloading our library and making a quick AR application might not take longer than a day, I guess. If they have enough assets, get it ready, like 3D models or your custom icons they want to use.
So you mentioned that there's a kind of a layered approach.
Yep.
So outdoor AR sits on top of Android AR.
Android.
So does Android AR just come with it? So when I download it, do I get
yeah.
Android AR in there too?
That's a good question. So,
Or do I have to, is that something separate I have to download?
no, it's actually as of now the Android AR is not release, but then it comes as a jar along with, maybe I could show you in.
So it's somewhere
Yeah,
Let's show that out there.
in bin or something?
yeah.
Bin.
So yeah, the low level
Lib,
library
lib,
is included as a jar file.
So
Okay.
and then
I see.
You give it in the build path of outdoor AR
outdoor
library.
AR. So
Okay, and outdoor AR library comes with all the source?
yeah,
Yeah.
it comes with the source. So I could.
SRC.
Oops, sorry.
SRC.
Okay, great.
Yeah. So it comes with the source. Yeah. That's right.
And of course, for internal users, you can also down into the lower level.
Android
so you
AR as
can
well,
mess up with lower level functions. But if you're mainly focusing on programming on the application, then you don't really have to worry about the low level stuff. Focus on the high level. Yeah, it's actually if there is a docs, Java docs linked to the library as well. So if you there's a doc folder there, and that's actually linked to the if you set, I think it's set up as a default so that you can have a look at the function.
If you want to add elements on top of the AR view,
Yeah.
can you do that easily?
Elements
Like a
custom-
UI element?
Oh yeah, that's what we define.
So I saw the button, but that was above the AR view. Can you put something on top of the AR view, like
You mean on
overlaid on top?
Transparent?
Yes, you can.
It's kind of you define it in XML and then you can just add it, right? It's not just above. It's kind of now we have defined it as a container. So
Okay,
and it just has the top thing. That's it.
So the custom UI allows you in both ways, like having your AR view or map view embedded in your custom view, or the other way around, having the AR view or the map view as a background and overlaying other UI stuff on top of it.
Great.
Okay.
I look forward to
The
using
two
it.
options are.
There are two options.
Yeah, that's, I wasn't sure exactly what the difference was.
So the interesting part is like when we came here and then we took at least 3-4 days to set up the whole thing, and then maybe that's kind of natural with every project. But then when it came to actual development of first AR application, it took us like 3-4 days, and then when Gun came up with this idea of the new structure, then it's kind of easy. I mean, it's kind of natural for us who has been working with that to get it easy. But then I think it's kind of really easy with the new structure here.
More abstract.
Yep.
Is the thought that this will eventually be something else other than Android AR at the bottom? So that you could put
yeah,
iPhone
eventually.
iPhone AR on the bottom, but you could
Yeah,
still use it.
eventually we have been planning for that for a long time.
But that's why there's a
Actually, yeah,
separation, I guess.
That's why we separated out from the low level functions with the thin, so to say, thin focused APIs on the top upper level, so that you could just focus on the content itself rather than worrying about the
Yep. So if there are no more questions, then we'll wind up the seminar. Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all. I talked with my guy.